Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers and Digital Empire Builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today, on this Free Game Friday, we've got another wonderful episode for you. Got a special guest in the building today. Bianca Shante is talking all things positive and mental health for everyone, including our babies, ladies and gentlemen. A topic that is very, very rarely spoke about. We're going to go in depth today. So I need you to do me a huge favor. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand. Smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it this morning. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life Academy studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you are a new entrepreneur, you're trying to launch a side hustle, and you need some help bringing your gifts, talents, special abilities to the marketplace, Monetize My Life Academy is the premier entrepreneurship training resource for newbie entrepreneurs or even existing entrepreneurs trying to bring their businesses onto the internet. We provide the tools, the templates, the training, and support to help you do just that. Check out monetizemylifeacademy.com. Today, we're talking all things positive. We're talking mental health for everyone, including our babies. We've got a very special guest who's going to come on and share with us some of the things that she's doing in this space. So can't wait to get this conversation going. Make sure you hit that share button. Make sure you tag a couple people. If you're on Facebook, you can tag some people in the stream and in the comments, but also comment the name of your business and or your brand. We love to give free business shout outs here on the Cortez Hustle Show because I know it ain't easy to be a hustler in these days, but we show support and love for all of our entrepreneurs. A couple quick announcements before we get the show underway. Really, just one major announcement. Not a couple, just one. Listen, man, Monetize My Life Blueprint is live and well today. If you want to turn your knowledge into an online course business, and you might be asking yourself, why should I do that, Cortez? Because it's 100% online. You don't need a team. You can work from home. The profit margins are high. You can start immediately. If you got a computer, internet connection, and a side hustle, we can help you. This program is amazing. I put together 3 ebooks to help you. Ebook number 1, Monetize My Life. That is the book that I penned where I wrote the 4 things that you need to do to take your talents to the next level and bring them to the marketplace. Also, side hustle success. How do you successfully get a side hustle going? That's included. And PLR Profits. Private label rights is the hidden gem that most coaches and consultants don't like to talk about, because that's how they continuously roll out new products. Well, I'm bringing that to the masses, including our new entrepreneurs. Go to Monetize My Life Blueprint.com. 37 bucks. You will not be disappointed. And y'all know I got y'all hooked up with all of the bonuses as well. So Monetize My Life Blueprint.com. If you want to grab that 3 ebook bundle, it'll tell you everything that you need to know to turn your gifts, talents, special abilities into a profitable digital course business. And of course, you got the support of me and my whole staff. So make sure y'all check that out. So without further delay, man, I'm going to bring in our special guest. This young lady is an amazing speaker, author, talent, world traveler, and she's got some new life-changing news that maybe she'll share with you guys today. So she's a friend of the program. Let's bring on Miss Bianca Shante. Good morning, Bianca. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing extremely well. Happy to have you back on the program. Super excited. So we're going to dive all the way into all things positive, man, and your journey as an entrepreneur. I'll let you share your new life-changing news if you wish. But before we get to any of that, the way we officially start the Cortez Hustle Show is we start with a quote of the day. So basically, I'm going to share a quote, usually something that I found that kicked me in the butt as I was going through my morning routine. And I was like, I got to share that with my people. So if you have a favorite quote, you can share it, or you can chime in on this one, or you can do both. So let's get into the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And today's quote says this: motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. And that is from the legend Jim Rohn himself. So do you have a favorite quote that you like to share, or do you want to chime in on that one, or do a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, because I actually said it a lot, a whole
Okay,
lot. A
good.
lot of it is built around mindset. So
Yeah,
definitely motivation. You have to have the mindset to get going, and you have to have good habits to keep going.
yeah,
A lot
I
of it
love
is your lifestyle decisions, and I always tell people where you are today are a result of the choices that you've made before today,
that.
and the choices you make today are going to predict where you go in the future. So you definitely
Absolutely.
have to have good habits, because if you have bad habits, it's going to show in your future.
Yeah, yeah, it's going. They gonna
Um,
catch up, man. Like the hip hoppers used to say, all that drinking gonna catch up.
yes.
All that smoking gonna catch up. So not just drinking and smoking, but all those bad habits are
Yeah,
eventually going to catch up.
yeah. And my favorite quote that I actually created is: "You're only obligated to take responsibility for the things that are a result of your own choices."
I
I
love
came up
that.
to help myself because
Hmm.
I always get anxious trying to save everybody, trying to help everybody. So it's like,
Hmm.
this is not my obligation. Like you have to filter somehow. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
you will
yeah,
drive yourself in the ground trying to um, take on other people who made bad choices to this point, trying to save them when it's not
yeah.
your obligation. You're only obligated to take responsibility to what you've done.
Hmm. Yeah, if your bad choice has affected them in some way, then it's your obligation to try to fix it. But
Mhm.
if this came about because of who they are and the things that they've
Mhm.
done, and their bad habits are catching up, you can want to help them, but that's not your obligation, right? and
Exactly.
and I love that, because sometimes we just take on too much that don't have nothing to do with us, and we feel guilty about it if we don't do
Mhm.
enough to
Yep.
change that situation. And you're a military person, right? What do they say? You can't leave your butt uncovered trying to go cover somebody else's butt. So,
Yeah.
and we typically do that in our lives, is we will leave ourselves uncovered to go help other people. And it saddens me to say, but a lot of times those people don't even appreciate
Mhm.
it.
Or
So
nothing's gonna change.
that brings another level of stress onto you after you uncovered yourself to cover them. They don't appreciate it. Now you even more frustrated. That, like, it's a whole thing, man. So appreciate that quote so much. So that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by Monetize My Life Blueprint. The new course is out now, y'all. Y'all can go get it. It's 37 bucks. It's a 3 ebook bundle. Tons of bonuses comes with it. So make sure y'all go and check that out, monetizemylifeblueprint.com. So Bianca, I know I've asked you this before because you've been on the show before, but I got to ask it to you again as I ask everybody who comes on this show. And the question is this: who the heck are you?
I'm a lot of things, but I just stick with the top four: socialpreneur, best-selling author, wife, and a mom. Those are the four important things to me. And socialpreneur kind of encompasses everything. So just an entrepreneur that focuses on social change, best-selling author. I love my baby. That's the new life-changing news. I have a 9-month-old baby, which lit an additional fire under me for my goals.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Before we get into the business side of things, like you have an interesting background in that you went to the military right out of high school. Talk us through that journey and how you found yourself a little depressed as you were trying to make the transition and try to basically live that career military life, but found out it ultimately wasn't for you. So let's walk them through that real quick.
Well, I actually have always struggled with mental health, but didn't realize it until later in life. And I think that's very common, especially in our community, because we don't talk to anyone, or just the lack of knowledge. We don't know that what we're feeling or what we're going through isn't normal. Well, it's our norm, but it isn't normal. Once you start talking about it, you realize, okay, something needs to change. You know what I mean? This is not okay. So I did join the military.
Wait a minute. And I'm glad you said that, because you said it is our norm, but it's not normal. And I think that if we can wrap our minds around that as a community, we'll see that most of us, 99.99999% of all of us, we're sick. You can't live the way we've been conditioned to live. You can't see the things that we've been sometimes forced to see and not have it have a traumatic effect on your life. So we talk about kids being resilient a lot, and it's like, they ain't resilient. You just didn't give them a choice, right? They probably need a hug, but because you dealing with something, you're not making yourself available to give them that hug, and they have no choice but to bounce back and pick themselves up. So you said you kind of started, as you look back on things, you're like, man, I've been having some mental things going on from childhood. Go ahead.
Yep. So I joined the military at 19. I graduated high school at 17. I joined at 19 because I went back and forth for a little bit. But at 19, I'm like, I need to go. I need to get away. But once I got in the military, I realized that a lot of that stuff was exasperated, and I felt like I was going to lose my mind. And the mental health professionals in the military aren't the best, at least what I've experienced. You know what I mean? They're the typical, what you see on TV, they sitting there with their legs crossed with a pen. And I'm just like, bro, I could have stayed in my dorm and did this. Like, I need help. Like, quit telling me to take Motrin and water to answer. That's the answer to everything in the military. Motrin 800 and hydrate. Like, bro. But they just shoved pills down your throat, and it just wasn't really effective, and it was spiraling. And I'm just like, I gotta do something. Like, I can't stay in the military. Like, I'm losing it. So once I got out, I thought I wanted to be I knew I wanted to help people, and most people automatically think they want to be a nurse. Started school for nursing. This ain't it. Research, and then I ended up going into social work after a while. And it kind of started the journey. I just kind of slowed down and tried to realize I need to follow my heart and not what my mind think I want to do. You know what I mean? Because my mind is telling me, you want to help people, go be a nurse, but it's not what I want to do. So I'm getting more and more into my purpose in life now, which takes time for people. A lot of people try to rush it, but it takes time for you to filter what you like, what you don't like. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing?
And what based on the gifts, talents, and intellect, and the passion and the fire that is inside of me, what should I be doing with that, right? And I think we live in a society that says there's one path to success, right? And I hate that with all of my heart, right? And I know hate is a strong word, but as someone who dropped out of college after 2 semesters, I officially checked out after two weeks, right? I was like, man, this ain't it. but I was too scared to go home and tell my mom that I wasn't going to finish, right? But they sell college as if it is the only way to succeed. They also sell it as if it's a guaranteed way to succeed. And at no time is there a conversation about what you just mentioned, that heart thing. What's in your heart, right? And I'm so glad that we live in this day and time with all of this technology, because 50 years ago, maybe what's in my heart couldn't produce an income for me to survive. Today it can. I don't care what you're interested in. You can build a business around it. Hence, Monetize My Life Academy can help you do that, right? But whatever it is that heart thing is telling you to do, there's a way that you can serve people and make a living doing that. And I think that's critically important. So you got through, realized that, hey, I still need help. So what was the transition coming out of the military?
Um, like I said, I started school and just started doing a lot. It kind of went kind of quick once I came off active duty. It seems, because I got married really young too. So I got off active duty and went into part-time military because I
Okay.
still was unsure on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Started school, worked, ended up getting married, stayed in school, graduated with my social work degree. And it's crazy because the whole time I was in college for social work, I'm like, I'm not working for CPS. I'm not working for CPS. But as I went through the program, I realized that I'm still being drawn back to kids. And it's been since childhood. Like, my whole reason for starting social work was to help the homeless.
Yeah.
And once I came out of college, where did I go? CPS. And it just grew my love. It just grew from there. I still keep up with a lot of my CPS babies, and it's been years. My foster kids, they still call me a lot. Some of them refer to me as mom.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is a gift for me. Like, I'm natural with kids. I've always been told that. People always tell me it's something different about you. It literally used to freak me out, because there used to always be random people that would come up to me, and I'm just like, what do y'all see? And I just started saying it's the God in me. It's a gift that He's given me with children, and they just draw to me. So I'm going to use it to help my babies. They're all my babies. I call them my babies. So I literally have kids around the world, Haiti, Kenya, everywhere. They reach out to me. They call me. I help them. I try to connect with them.
Yeah.
So.
And that's important, man, to tap into that gift in the way a lot of people don't actually discover that early, because again, you chasing the bag, right? It's like, hey, I get out of school, the first thing they tell me is I need a house with a white picket fence and a 2-car garage. And if I got 2-car garage, that means I might probably should have 2 cars, right? So now I got a mortgage, I got 2 car notes, and don't start a family. Now you got all of these financial obligations where your heart is pulling you in one direction, but in that direction, you can't foresee any money coming from that direction. So what do? You go in this direction to make a paycheck so you can pay for all of this stuff that they talked you into getting. And I'm just so glad that you were.
Said that.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like, that's where we are. And until we realize where we are, we can never chart a new course to go in a different direction, right? When the first thing the GPS needs to know to help you get where you want to go is where you are. And we have a hard time admitting where we are, right?
And I'm glad you said something about all the stuff. I was talking to a guy from Ethiopia that moved here a couple of years ago. That's another thing. I'm like naturally drawn from people to people from other cultures, because that's another passion of mine. But anyway, I was talking to him about how I didn't want to be in America anymore. I'm just like, it's just too stressful for the average Black person. You know what I mean? Like, there's some that's well off and be like, I'm cool. But for the average Black person, it's a lot, especially Black men. And I'm just like, it makes me nervous having to raise my son here. And he's like, I asked him what made him want to come here. I'm like, you trying to come here and some of us trying to get out. And he's like, well, the opportunity and you can do so much. I'm like, you can, but at the expense of what? Your mental health, you know what I mean? Some people, their family, because it's like once you get in the hustle and bustle, you got to keep up with it. I travel so much, and I've noticed in other countries, they're so much more peaceful, so much more grateful, because they're holding their family. Like, they're not chasing all of this stuff. You know what I mean? Here it's about stuff. And I'm grateful that we have the opportunities that we have. But it's just like I would want a sense of peace. I want to raise my family. I don't want to worry about the certain things that we have to worry about when we go outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. He's like, because I do see a lot of this stuff going on once you get here. Because once you get the picket fence and the house and all this stuff you think you want, you got to keep working and doing all of this to keep up with it. And now it's nonstop.
And really what it is in my study of wealthy people, successful people, and the culture in general, especially the financial institutions, it's a dream that was sold to us by the people who intended to finance the dream, right? That's the dream. That's what we got to understand. Like, I've always been told, follow the money, right? Why is college pushed? Because the people who are pushing college has a financial agenda, right? Because once you go to school and you come out and you've got 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in student loan debt, what are you going to do? You're going to fulfill that obligation by working. Even if it's working a job that you do not like, you feel the obligation. So you go to work, right? They took away an emphasis on trade schools, right? You can go get a trade school education for about $5,000, right?
A lot more.
And then come out immediately and start working in that field. Probably the reason you went to the trade school because you probably already like working with your hands. So not only do you make more money right away, you're instantly doing something you love to do, right? It's so crazy. And I apologize for going on a rant, but we got to start changing the narrative and waking up to see what's really behind this whole engine. But before we go any further, and I definitely want to get into your world travels and some of the things you've seen in other cultures, but we do a segment on the Cortez Hustle Show called 1 Minute Motivation. That's where I share a short motivational clip, usually 60 to 90 seconds or so. I'm going to ask you to give your takeaways. I'm going to give a couple takeaways, and those who are able to comment live as they're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, they'll give a couple takeaways as well. So let's get into some 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
As you are, all of them are is talented, and when we're thinking about,
I'm not going to say they're not talented.
Okay,
they didn't just exercise the gift.
Exercise that gift.
We're always blessed with talents. Every last one of you have a talent, but it's on you to develop and exercise and go get it. It's on you. That's not on mama, that's not on daddy, that's not on the friend, that's not on the homie, that's on you to go get it. So all of you got something inside of you that is just screaming to get out, and it's about time that you bring it out.
That's it. So Coach, there's a lot of human specimens out there that are athletes. I'm thinking about MJ. I'm thinking about Bo Jackson. We interviewed him last year at the
awesome
AT&T Stadium. Usain Bolt, human specimen, physical specimen. LeBron James, specimen. You're a specimen. So when we're looking at talent, when does talent stop until work ethic takes over to get to the next level of domination?
Well, I like work ethic and I like talent, but I also love character. Character is going to keep you where you want to go longer than you really need to stay. Work ethic is unbelievable. Talent is as well. But sooner or later, it's something that's inside of you just has to want it. You have to need it. You got to go at it like it's that next breath that you got to take, that nobody can stop you. And the closer you get to it, you're going to have naysayers, you're going to have doubters, you're going to have people that's close to you, that even in the crib with your laying beside of you that don't believe in you. I know I stepped on somebody's toes right there, but it's okay. That's what I came here to do. But it's...
That is prime time in all of his prime timeness, right? Giving it to you rough, giving it to you raw and real. So the reason I love this, Bianca, is a couple of reasons. I'm just a big proponent for personal growth and self-development, right? But I love to do it when I have a guest because we all just listen to the same clip. But based on where you are in life, we all heard something very different. So what did you hear, sis?
I don't know. I heard a lot in there, and it's crazy you put him on today because that's actually the coach of the school I graduated from now.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that he said, I preach a lot. So I don't know. Like it definitely, like I said, constantly growing is definitely important. This is something I talk about with others often as well,
Mm-hmm.
especially in relationships, because if one person is growing, I talk about this in my book. If one person is growing and
Mm-hmm.
you're not growing,
Yeah.
you're going to eventually grow apart, no matter
Yeah.
what type of relationship it is, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
romantic or whatever. So talent, character, all of that is definitely important in success. A lot of
Yeah.
people feel like a lot of it is who you know, but your
Mm-hmm.
character, your talent, your skill, your drive is what's gonna keep you going once the
Mm-hmm.
people that you know get you there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge one. And people think that's a bad thing, right? Um, Maximizing your gifts, right?
Mhm.
I teach and monetize my life academy. There's three things that we focus on: mindset, skill set, and tool set, right? If you have the right mindset, then you'll develop the right skill set, and the right skill set will lead you to the right tool set, right? What do you have in your bag that's going to help you maximize every opportunity that you get? But it starts with the right mindset and the mentality. Your mindset, all things positive. I live in a world of abundance. I am an optimist and not a pessimist, right? Having the right mindset is so critical.
Mhm.
I heard Eric Thomas talk something similar to say that if you're not careful, your talent will get you to places that your character can't keep you, right? So it's good to be talented, it's good to be hardworking, and it's even good, to your point, to know people. People can open some doors for you, but like you said, your character is what will
Mhm.
keep you there, right? There's a lot of doors that have been open to me. My mom has always spoke over my life. Cortez, I don't know what it is about you, but you got the favor of David on your life. And if you know anything about biblical stories and principles, David had God's favor from a very young boy, right? And for whatever reason, as they say, favor ain't fair. I got
Get
it.
it?
And favor will open doors, but my character has to keep me there. So I'm constantly working on developing my character. And we are human beings, Bianca, not human doings. So we got to remember to become who we want to be and stop trying to do a bunch of stuff before we actually become. So that's it. Any other thoughts on that before we go?
Shoot, I needed that. Like, say that. Say what you said at the end.
We are human beings, not human doings. You got to become first, right? As an entrepreneur, I heard a coach tell me one time, he said, you've got to become a seven-figure human being before you become a seven-figure entrepreneur. I was like, oh, snap. Like, you got to develop the character and the habits of a seven-figure entrepreneur. That has to become your being. Then you'll start naturally doing the things that will result in a seven-figure business. And I'm like,
I like
man.
that.
And you
I
do
like
that
that.
in every area of your life, right? If you want to be a better wife or a better spouse, then you have to become that first, and then doing the things that a better husband or wife does just are part of you. They become natural, and then you'll get the results. So be, do, have, man, is the name of the game.
I just like how it was worded. I was thinking about this the
Yeah,
other day when I was going down the highway. Like you
yeah,
have to operate in the avenue that you want to go before you actually get there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like if you
yeah,
want to be a wife, which is so controversial these days, if you want to be a wife, do
yeah.
some of those things first so that somebody can see that you're worthy of being a wife. And
There you
then
go.
you
There you
can't
go.
be out here just going crazy and think somebody just going. So yeah.
Exactly. Let that become who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And when
And
you
it'll be easy.
become that,
Mm-hmm.
then your activities will reflect that that's who you are, and you will ultimately have the thing that you desire. So appreciate that. My man Martin, real quick before we get off of this, he says, I'm a product of a trade school and was recruited from the trade school on the second to the last day from the instructor, right? Got a job right before school was even over. He got a job in his trade, right? So those are the types of things that we need to really get back to in this country. So that was 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by, of course, Monetize My Life Blueprint. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to help you turn your gifts, passions, talent, and experience into a profitable digital product business so that you can work 100% online. You can make money from home. The profit margins are high. We've got the systems, we've got the tools, we've got the training, we've got the resources that you need. Go to monetizemylifeblueprint.com to learn more. So Bianca, we pushed through your early childhood. You kind of realized, looking back on things, like, man, I was dealing with some stuff mentally and emotionally as a kid, and there was no recognition of it. There was no help for it. There was nothing. And when you got to the military life, that kind of really exposed even more of that trauma and some of those things. And then ultimately, you got out of the military, start seeking help. What was it like when you went to your first counselor or your first few counselors outside of the military as you start seeking that wholeness?
I honestly don't even remember. I don't. It's been so. I've been in therapy so long consistently because like I said, I'm a huge proponent of mental health therapy, even when nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember the very first therapist I went to, but I do remember once I got to Mississippi. That may have been my first therapist. I encountered a really good therapist in Mississippi. He was one of the first to actually be able to help me. Damian Thomas in Mississippi, resilience counseling. And it's what's important to me. I feel like it's important to get someone that's relatable to you, especially when it comes to culture, because I have a hard time connecting with people that are not that is not a person of color, because it's just a culture clash. Like, it just, when we're in therapy, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, they can't relate to a lot of stuff we deal with. So just things like, I mean, there's nothing against it. It just becomes difficult. And I think they may feel the same as well. But Damien was one of the first ones to help me. And once I started kind of working through some of this stuff and realizing, I didn't realize this was an issue as a kid, or I didn't realize this stemmed from that. So just simple things, the smallest things you would never realize. Something that happened as a child is still affecting you now.
Yeah.
Majorly
Absolutely.
now. So a lot of the stuff that happens to us as kids, whether it's positive or negative, is going to reflect in your adulthood, regardless of how you put it. So like I said, once I started working through a lot of that and started realizing that my passion is to educate others. And that's when I started wanting to help other adults. And then I went back to the kid in me, of course. So I went back to the kids again.
Right.
So it just kind of came back to me naturally.
I love that. And that's super important, that sometimes we want to get help and we will see a counselor that doesn't fit, and then we throw the baby out with the bathwater. Counseling doesn't work. No, that counselor didn't work for you. Counseling altogether doesn't work. You do have to find someone who gets you, who gets your situation, and who's genuinely there to help you overcome and deal with some of the things. So don't just throw counseling away altogether because you saw one a couple of times and it didn't work, right? Oh, I'm just throwing money away. No, and take your time, interview a few, and actually find the one that's right for you so that you can get the help that you need. And ultimately, you started to get that help. And I love that you said, even when nothing is wrong, right? Because that's the other stigma of counseling. It is, I gotta wait until I'm broken to go get fixed. Well, you don't have to be broken to get better. That's what people don't understand. Like, if I'm healthy here, I might not be at my optimal health. I don't have to wait till my health starts tanking to go see a doctor. I'm healthy. Doc, I want to take my health to another level. How can you help me get there? So you don't have to wait until you're broken to get fixed, right? You can be at a good even keel and want to go to a higher plane. So that's huge. So once you got through that and you realize, okay, you're doing your thing in the social workspace. And I remember last year we got a chance to hang out with some of the people that you were helping in the homeless shelter, and we did some Christmas stuff together. How did you transition to, because from what I understand, social workers don't make a lot of money, right? And to be honest, social workers, teachers, firefighters, people who have that calling on their life of service, they're being exploited in this country, right? They're literally being exploited. And why I say that is because when you know somebody would do what you're asking them to do for free, then you have a green light to pay them the least amount that you can. And I think that's what's happening in the world of social services. And that's why social entrepreneurship is so critical for people like you, because you can do what you're doing in the corporate space, and you know $30, $40, $50,000 is where that industry tops out at most. But if you can create a side hustle of social entrepreneurship where you can make an additional 30, 40, 50,000 a year, now you can really serve at that level. So when you got into that social side and you were doing your thing, walk us through the mindset that you have when you're like, okay, I can be of a greater impact if I put out a book, if I start my own curriculum. What was that mindset, and walk us through that transition?
I've always thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was a child. It just wasn't supported as a child. You know, in our community, they don't really understand how it works. So again, it's one of the things that I always kind of reverted back to. Like, just working a job just don't feel right for me. When I worked with the homeless vets, that was the first job I loved in a long time. But I just knew I needed to create my own lane. And again, I was trying to do what others were doing as usual. But once I started to follow my heart, when I sat down, when I got closer to 30, I started to sit down, like, what is it that I want to do? Like, I have to figure it out. I started to feel like I was having a midlife crisis. Started as a travel agent. I'm still a travel agent 5 years later.
Well, let's just be clear. 30 is not midlife. So.
I know it was something that was going on mentally, though. I'm just like, I have to figure my life out.
You don't have a midlife crisis at 30. You're a third of the way there.
That's why I said I felt like I was having one. I just felt like I had to figure. I don't know what was going on in my head. It's like when I got closer to 30, I felt like I had to figure it all out for some reason. So I started road mapping all of this stuff. So I've been a travel agent for 5 years. I would go back to work off and on, just kind of when I would get bored sitting at home, but to push into my brand, which is more of my passion. I wanted to create my own avenue. People have told me for years I need to write a book. I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to write a book. I didn't have enough to say. So as I grew my confidence, I started writing, got my book out. That helped. The workbook. And then I just continued, like I said, I just continued to follow my passions. I knew at the beginning, before I even released my book, a kids collection is going to come. Because all my kids' ideas started rolling. And I just knew, after all of my experiences working at CPS, working as a teacher, trying to figure out what I wanted to do to help, it just still wasn't fitting right with me. So I took all of my past experience, and just created my own lane, which led to my current kids collection. Like, all of it has led to, I don't know, I just couldn't really find a good fit that felt okay for me. And you said, the old days, they teach us, find a job, stick with it, retire at 30 years. And I'm just like, again, at the expense of your mental health, I get it, but I don't want to be here for 30 years if I'm not. This is not what I want to do. I don't want to just survive. I want to actually enjoy my life.
Exactly. and I think when I talk to aspiring entrepreneurs, there's 3 reasons that I think everybody should go hard with entrepreneurship, at least once, give it a full go. Number one, I think we have to model something different for our children, right? We all will say that working a job ain't the best thing, but at the same time, out the other side of our mouth, we're still preparing our kids to go to college, get a job, and work for 40 years, right? So I think at some point we have to model it. My mom told me that she always said, you're going to be an entrepreneur, right? She couldn't even say the word right. She just knew someone prophesied to her that I was going to be the entrepreneur of the family, right? So she always spoke that over my life, but how much different would my life would be if she had modeled that in front of me? So I think we need to model something different for our children. The second reason I think everybody needs to go hard in entrepreneurship, because I think one of the reasons the society is where it is today is there's a lack of fulfillment, right? People are just not fulfilled. And after they get into this thing called work for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and they realize, wait a minute, this is all there is for the next 40 years. And they realize they're not fulfilled. But again, they've been trapped with that stuff, right? So they got financial obligations that they can't walk away from because they're afraid of what other people will think. If I let them take the house back because it's too much, I shouldn't have bought that much in the first place. They're thinking what other people are going to think. So that fulfillment piece is important for mental and emotional health, right?
Totally agree.
Okay.
I totally agree. And I say all the time that I'm not a person that likes stuff. People be thinking I'm so weird. They keep asking, "What are you guys doing for Christmas?" I'm like, I don't know what I want for Christmas. I can't expect anybody else to figure it out because I don't buy a bunch of stuff for that reason. For that reason, I'm more big on moments and experiences. And I've set up a fund for my baby already a week after he was born. And I'm like, if he decides to go to college, he can use it to go to college. If not, he can use it on a down payment on a house or whatever. And they're like, "Look at you being an entrepreneur." I'm like, I'm not pushing college on my baby. I'm not pushing college on my baby. I'm setting up stuff to where he'll have a business to pass down to him once he turns 18 or 16 or whatever he want to take over. But I'm not pushing college on my baby for that reason. I want my baby to follow his dreams.
And I want you to think about your own life, right? When did you go to college? I want you to think about that. You experienced life for 6 years, 4 years, 5 years, when you said at that point, I'm ready for college. I need college at this point because of I know what path I want to go down. At 17, 18 years old, these babies don't know.
Yeah, you're only doing what your parents to please your
They
parents
don't
at that
know
point.
what they want. So if I had to do it over again, I have 5 sons, Bianca. If I had to do it over again, all 5 of my sons will have at least 2 trades before they graduate high school. At least 2, right? They would go into the workforce. And if they decided that based on where I see myself in 5 years, a college degree would help me, they would have 2 skills to pay for it and they wouldn't have to go into debt to do it. Right.
Yep.
That would be my game plan if I had to do it over again. Right. So you went through that whole process and then ultimately you started to become a world traveler. Talk about the benefits of going around the world, experiencing different cultures and the perspective that it has given you and even its effect on your mental health and emotional well-being.
Well, traveling is definitely therapeutic for me. Absolutely therapeutic, but it's beneficial to anyone because it's being exposed to something that's different than what you're used to, stepping outside of your norm. You're forced to grow. You're seeing different things. You're able to experience different things. And now you're able to realize what I used to like, what I thought I liked. That's not really what I like. I've experienced something better. So now once you experience something better, it's like, ain't no going back. So that's how you grow. Like, okay, I went here, I've experienced that. Now I gotta go a little further. I gotta do a little more. I gotta try something a little different. And you know what I mean? You're coming in contact with all these other people that are speaking knowledge into you, whether it's another language, whether it's different points of view. So it's just so many different people and perspectives and things to see around the world. You're naturally gonna grow whether you realize it or not. Like you can always tell the difference in the conversations between someone that's never left their local area and someone that travels a lot.
Yeah, and I think when you get out and you do start to open yourself up, you start to realize how much what we think we want is programmed in us, right? You start to see quickly, like, wait a minute, I thought I had this appetite for this thing, but then you realize, oh no, I only had the appetite for this thing because I've never seen any of this stuff. But now that I see all of this other stuff, I got a whole different set of appetites, right? Yeah. So that's important, man. And I can't wait. My wife and I are preparing to do some sort of excursion every single month, right? Whether it's local, whether it's international, it is, hey, here's a budget, plan us something. I'm going to shut the business down for 4 days every month. And we're going to either get in the car and drive somewhere, or we're going to get on a plane.
Go skydive.
Go skydive. Yep. Every month we're going to do something that's going to stretch us and something that's going to, like you said, create those experiences and those moments, right? We don't need stuff. I can't wait. I'm going to actually buy me a mobile home, Bianca, and we're just going to hop in that thing and we're just going to drive, right? Just gonna drive across this country
goals. It's so crazy.
and see this countryside. But you keep referencing going back to the babies, right? And trying to connect with that child in you that you felt was neglected when you needed the most help mentally and emotionally, and now you're pouring into of the babies, let's talk about the program that you're putting together to help children with their emotional and mental well-being.
Okay, so the book that I created, I actually designed this book from cover to cover all by myself with the newborn baby. It started as just an activity book, but then someone gave me the idea to create a course around it, and my creativity went through the roof. So it covers social emotional skills, helps children with social awareness, self-awareness, positive relationship, positive relationship skills, healthy decision making, how to set goals, and then because travel and culture is important, there's some travel and culture stuff in there. So it's a 12-week program. Once you enroll your child, we meet once a week for 12 weeks, and there's other activities in the book that they can do on their own, but there's 12 of the pages that we do together, and I kind of teach them some things, and you know what I mean, help them. And the ultimate goal is to help them build positive self-esteem and just a solid sense of who they are starting. It's suggested for ages 8 to 12. If you have younger kids that's a little bit more mature, that's okay, but I don't encourage going past 12 because that's kind of a tricky age, you know what I mean? So in the classes, we want to keep the classes small, but I've got really good feedback so far. But like I said, my goal is to just teach them a lot of these skills that's not taught in school, help them identify stress, what to do with that stress. I want to kind of alleviate a lot of the bullying. We talk about bullying, the school shootings, all of that stuff. So I feel like this program is really important right now, really, really important. And it just couldn't be launched at a better time, And I really want to get into schools and the program into schools and stuff as well.
Yeah, I think there's a huge need for, like I said, our babies are sick, man, and all we do is sit back and judge them based on their behavior that's coming out of a mental illness, right? My baby, these kids are sagging and these kids are shooting each other up, and these kids are robbing and stealing, and these kids are smoking weed and cigarettes and they're drinking, and because they're sick.
Yeah,
they're
and the one that makes me mad is they say these kids somebody needs to whoop their butts. And I'm just like, a lot of these kids have been beat enough and they have pent up anger and it's being released the wrong ways now. So whooping obviously is not going to fix it. A lot of the people that was beat are still in prison.
Right.
So no, they don't need, you know what I mean? They don't need another whooping. They don't need, that's not what they need. They need someone to love them. They need someone to guide them. They need the skills to get through life.
It's so funny. I have a good friend, Carl Washington, who coached my son for 5 years in football, and we live in North County. So and I remember he was really, really hard on him, and he said something that really made a lot of sense to me. He said, Cortez, the kids out here are living in 2-parent homes. They have a better life than most, even though they don't realize it. So they need a little bit of tough love. So I get in their butt and I push them really hard. He said, but if I was coaching in the city, there would be more hugs because they don't need that based on the environment and the situation they're growing up. They need more hugs. I would be a different guy if I was coaching down there. I was like, man, somebody who actually gets it, right? Based on the circumstances, you meet the kids where they are. So it sounds like this program is going to meet the kids where they are. And I think helping them identify early on mental and emotional stressors and triggers is going to be important. But the reason I love it so much, Bianca, is because I know that these kids can't come out of your program and not have meaningful conversations with their parents about this stuff. Because as they say, it is easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead, right? So you can't teach some of this stuff to old folks, but teaching it to their babies, and now their babies are asking questions like, Mom, you look stressed out. Bianca taught me that this is how stress shows up in somebody's life. Now they gotta have some real conversations with their parents. Was that kind of intended to?
Yeah. And I've actually had some of that feedback as well from parents. It's hard to kind of read kids because sometimes they look at you like you got 12 heads. But they're usually in tune. But a lot of the parents is like, this is really working. You know what I mean? Like my baby came to me and said this, or my baby speaks up for herself now. Like she don't let her sisters bully her anymore, or she says she's more confident. Or when I ended, the kids was like, can you create another course for us? I'm like, I'm going to create some continuing education stuff down the line, but let me just get this one solid for you first. But it just melted my heart knowing that my mission was accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely the goal because, like you said, a lot of kids are the ones that kind of are change agents in their household sometimes when it comes to other family members or parents or whoever else that they come in contact with.
I love that. Well, Bianca, we've come to our second favorite segment on the Cortez Hustle Show. And this segment is called Freestyle because I know you got bars, sis. I'm going to drop a beat. And no, that's not what it's about. Freestyle is your opportunity. As I'm building this multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate, starting with this podcast, I realized that I didn't go to broadcasting school, so I don't always ask the right questions, and the conversation doesn't always evolve to where it should go. So freestyle is your opportunity to either reiterate something that you feel is important and need to be said, or if the conversation hasn't gotten to a place and you feel there's something really important on your heart that you need to say, this is your time. Take 2 minutes and go through whatever it is that you want to share with the audience. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Bianca Shante version. Hit them with your best bars, sis.
All right, social emotional skills are very important for anybody and just not children. A lot of adults are lacking them, which is why they are struggling with a lot of the things that they are struggling with now. So definitely get your kids the help that they need now to help them do better as they grow through life, so that they won't run into a lot of the issues that you ran into that you may not see as an issue, but they are issues. So definitely get them involved in this program. My goal is to help them any way possible. We are having our live launch on Saturday from my social media page, and I'm giving away tons of free stuff. But like I said, my ultimate goal is just to save our babies. Our babies need us. We can't keep just pushing them by the wayside. I created this brand for adults initially, but I really feel like my kids collection is going to take over because my babies are my passion. So definitely get your kids involved. We have to help them with their mental health. We have to help them with these skills. This is what's going to essentially start to change our households, then essentially change our communities, and then our communities are going to start to change our world. So we have to help our babies. They are our next generation.
Boom, drop the mic, man. Bars right here. That is freestyle on the Cortez Hustle Show with Bianca Shante. It is always a pleasure to talk with you. It's very difficult to convey love and light through a computer screen, but you do it extremely well. I can see the glow, and I really appreciate that. So when it comes to those babies, man, I think you're right. Most people didn't even get introduced to the term mental health until we were adults, right? And all of the things that our children see, especially growing up in this day and age. When I was coming up, I had 1 or 2 bullies, right? Today, because of social media, you could literally have thousands of them.
Yes.
You could have imagine that. You could have thousands of bullies if you have a social media profile. And even if you don't, someone could take your picture, put it on their profile, and you can have thousands of negative comments, people bullying you. So if you don't think your children need a program like this, you are sadly mistaken, my friend. I promise you, there are things that your children are dealing with that they will never talk to you about, but they need to be talking to somebody. And chances are they're talking to their friends about it, and they're getting bad advice from their friends. They need someone to guide them through some of these issues, and you need to open the door for someone to get them to open up about what they are going through. So Bianca, real quick, tell everybody how they can connect with you and the program.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the All Things Positive brand. On TikTok, Lord Jesus, I need help with TikTok. On TikTok at the All Things Positive brand. My website is www.iambiancashante.com. You can go on there, you can enroll your child. You guys actually got early access because everything is set up and prepared for tomorrow. So if you want to get in, definitely get enrolled today because the classes, we're keeping them really small. Because they're little kids. We don't want too many kids, and we're keeping them small. They're going to fill up fast. So go get your child enrolled. You can go on my website and read more about the programs. There's review videos and everything on there that you would need. That's how you can find me across social media and my website.
Love it, love it. The All Things Positive brand across most social platforms. You look at All Things Positive brand on TikTok, she's there. IamBiancaShante.com. You can go there and look at her kids collection. We have been listening to and learning from Miss Bianca Shante, Miss All Things Positive Brand. Congrats on the trademark of the brand too. I saw that as well. That's huge. You own some intellectual property, which is amazing. So again, thank you for being here. Any last words before you go?
No, that's it. I'm just gonna keep taking my problems, my struggles, and creating lessons for other people. Learning avenues for other people.
I love it. And when you teach, that is actually the highest form of learning, right? When you're teaching something, you have to be able to break it down in a variety of ways, and just rephrasing the same thing over and over in your head so someone else can get it. That literally helps cement it in you as well. So that's why I do the Cortez Hustle Show. That's why I do a lot of the trainings and stuff that I do. It's usually because I'm trying to learn something, Bianca. And the best way for me to learn it is to teach it to somebody else. So now you know that's my hack. That is my secret why I bring so much value to you guys each and every single day. So that's going to do it for us. Bianca, hang out for a quick second. We're going to wrap this thing up, man. I appreciate you so much for coming to hang out, man. Until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.